Okay, this meeting is now called to order. Notice of a regular meeting Thursday, October 24th, 2024. Time right now is 6:30. Ms. Fonseca, please call roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Moravia Mary Koraleski,
Here.
Councilperson Manuel Rodriguez,
Here.
Councilperson Patricia Trish Garcia,
I'm here.
Councilperson Gilbert Ayala, Councilperson Alejandro Garcia Jr., Mayor Sandra Luna.
Here. Going to item number 3. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll be moving on to citizens to be heard. Do we have any citizens to be
Yes,
heard?
Mayor.
Mr. Alvarado?
Evening, Mayor, Council. I distributed a few handouts to you. I wanted to talk to you about water bills. The state of Texas, a water bill is a public document. Anybody can go and access that information unless the consumer does not want that, and they have to issue that in writing to not have that in. Also, reference to this, I'm under the impression that there's some people at City Hall that have been altering, doctoring, manipulating water bills. With that being said, Texas Penal Code covers that under tampering of government records, making false entry or alternate of the government record. Also, any city employee is considered a government employee, so they can be held accountable. Where it gets down to it is that if this council is aware of this stuff and they don't take any action, y'all can be held accountable also as a use of official capacity because y'all don't want to take any action for it, whether it be terminating or, having charges filed against these employees. But since this is a city-run administration, the one I feel sorry for is you, Mr. Wright, because when it boils down to it, this council appointed you. They're going to throw you under the bus because you are the one that's supposed to be where the buck stops. And I'm almost positive that this council will not take accountability for any action that you're supposed to be on top of. So just be aware of that. When the stuff does hit the fan and things do start coming out to light, that you're going to be the one that's going to be held accountable. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll move on to number 5, approval of minutes. Have we had time to review the minutes, and do we need any discussion? No? Do I have a motion to vote on the approval of the minutes for October 7th, 2024 special meeting?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. Go ahead.
You got it, Ms. Fonseca?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So all in favor of approving the minutes for October 7th, 2024 special meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to number 6. This is the resolution of the City of Cotulla approving a model TikTok policy in compliance with the 88th Texas legislation passed by Senate 1893 prohibiting the use of covered applications of government entity devices. And Mr. Pena, do you
Yeah,
have
I can address this. If you follow the news, there has been a discussion about TikTok for at least a couple of years. And it's owned by a company named ByteDance, which according to the U.S. government is actually a Chinese government. So the state legislature, the federal Congress have looked at this issue. And essentially what happened is the governor issued a set of executive orders that applied to state agencies, and then the legislature, when they met in 2023, passed this Senate bill requiring local governments and other entities to approve a policy basically banning it on government devices. I don't know what we have on our government devices, but it cannot be on there for anybody that's conducting official business. There may be issues as well with people using their own devices for that might have it on there that are like using their own cell phones and things of that sort. So the policy, the resolution kind of lays out what the policies are, and I honestly don't know how big of a problem it is. The requirement is that the city must approve it by November the 20th. There doesn't seem to be any penalty for not doing it, but there are many requirements that are that way. They say you have to do this, but then it doesn't say what will happen if you don't do it. So essentially, it's something that may not be a very big issue, but it is required.
Council, wish to discuss it? Okay, in review of it, do I have a motion to go in favor of the resolution and passing it for city?
Make a motion that it's accepted. Second it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Resolution passes. Number 7, discussion and consideration to act on authorizing to award bond counsel professional services contract, the Texas Development Water Board Project Information Form 15660. And David, do you have that information on there? Or do we have a discussion?
Erica's going to speak
All
about it.
right. Yes, ma'am.
Again, good evening, Mayor, members of the council, Mr. Wright, Mr. Peña. So the city received a invitation to apply for a Texas Water Development Board loan grant, should I say, for a project information form that they submitted. David would have more information on the project itself, but as far as the process of administration, I take care of that part. So in that invitation to apply, they highly recommended that we advertise a request for statements of qualifications from the bond counsel and the financial advisor, so that we would have them on board prior to the submittal of the actual application, which is due on November 15th to the Water Development Board. And so I did post the request for statements of qualifications for both in the newspaper, and they ran for 2 weeks. They were due yesterday, and I believe we received one for each RFQ that was advertised, and the first one is bond counsel. So David, do you have that with you? And so these are statements of qualifications. They do not include, you can give that to the mayor, she can open it. Thank you. They do not include a price because it is a professional services contract. So therefore, it's not a proposal. And so just verify that, that it's in there and who it's from.
Taped in. I feel like it's Christmas. Yeah.
No, no.
So it's properly sealed, so I haven't been opened. So my understanding was we were supposed to just submit for now, right? To be able to be eligible to apply.
They highly recommended that we advertise the RFQ so that we would have the bond counsel and the financial advisor already hired by the time the application is submitted. That way it facilitates the process moving forward from the date of the application, and they're able to close out a lot sooner than later. If you have those two
And what will be using
terms
in the
on board.
boxes?
So we have a project on the shelf engineered, $3.5 million for the wastewater plant, which is a mechanical bar screen, addition of dry embeds, and we have one clarifier at the wastewater plant that's down, and it would be a total rehab of that clarifier. On FM 468, there's a lift station that is inadequate. It would be for a replacement of that lift station and also multiple sewer lines throughout the city replacement.
And I understand it is a 70% grant and 30% loan.
That's
And I
correct.
believe that's because it's the economically distressed area program that allows up to 70% grant if a nuisance is determined in the areas where those improvements are going to be made. So this is a great opportunity for the city to take advantage of these funds because normally Water Development Board is all loan.
Yep.
And actually, I'm going to correct myself because it is not a grant. It is called a forgivable loan.
Yep.
Loan forgiveness.
Mm.
So if we can just confirm who that response was from,
This was from EP Escamilla and Ponick,
Ponick, okay.
attorney and counselors.
So since we only received one, my recommendation is to award. However, they won't be fully hired until the next council meeting when we execute the contract. And so between now and then, it'll give David the opportunity to talk to them and negotiate a contract.
And then the eligibility project being of the 12,390,000, that's not necessarily what we would be approved for, or how does that work?
No, we've been invited to apply for that dollar amount. Historically, what happened on the last process in 2015 is that we were approved for the amount that they invited us for. The big difference between now and then is the actual grant amount that's in the project. I know the city was awarded 15 million and change at that time, and there was $1 million forgiveness. So the city had a $14 million loan. This time it's a big difference, and we have a 70% grant.
I did want to add one thing, and I since Erica's here, she could correct me. A while back, an individual came here and he did some follow-up work with the census to get more complete answers to determine income levels in Cotulla. And I don't know whether that had
total bearing on this. So the
Okay.
socioeconomic survey that was completed last year, the census had Cotulla over the threshold, I think at $54,000 per household. Socioeconomic survey came in at 36,000. We submitted that to Texas Water Development Board, and they agreed to approve that survey and use it for any future loans or grants.
So that wasn't free to do that,
No.
to get the survey done. And people may have questioned why the city would do that. And tonight, here is the answer to that question. And I think the city needs to take credit, and this governing body in particular, and those that were on the governing body, for having the foresight and being guided in that direction, because a 70% forgivable loan of this amount is substantial.
Especially for something that is needed for future
Right.
development. Growth.
And so I think a well-deserved pat on the back to all of those who participate in that, and to those here who have guided the city through that. So sometimes I think people don't understand how these pieces exactly fit together. But I think this is a perfect opportunity to show a very tangible result for that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and this is part of the census. So 2020, our census was what, 38,000, right? 3,800
Yeah, it was
in
completely wrong.
population. But this is where we use the municipality census, or what? Is that?
It's a federal decennial census.
Okay.
So they gather all that information, but people don't answer them.
Right,
The compliance rate is not what it ought to be.
but that's how we were able to upcome that number for layman's term for our citizens to understand that.
The guy actually went to my house. I
Yeah.
said, no, I don't live here.
Yeah.
But I was there, and he said, and they went door to door to door asking people, which is not an easy thing to do, to basically tell them your household income.
Yeah.
I mean, but they were able to do it. So
So because of that, and just that way it's more understandable, that because of that, since it's kind of going house to house, it qualified us for
you would have
Correct.
never gotten this deal. And I think it's very important to tell everybody that.
So we need a motion and consideration. Do we have a motion
I
to
motion.
second?
Second.
With that being said, All in favor of the bond going
Aye.
forward?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. That brings us to number 8, discussion and consideration authorization to award financial advisor professional services contract to the Texas Water Development Board Project Information Form, number 15660.
And again, it's for the same project, except this is for the financial advisor that is needed.
Hopefully this will be.
Take one. Okay, this one. This one is the Harina Financial Consulting LLC.
Okay. And again, since there was only one response to the RFQ solicitation, I recommend that it be awarded to Tijerina. And the contract will be executed at the next council meeting of November 14th. Again, it'll give Mr. Wright the right to negotiate a contract with them and bring forth to council.
Any discussion?
I just had a point. These are both individuals the city has used extensively. So there are agreements already in place that they've accepted our terms. So these are people who the city is well familiar with. I know who they are. Other than looking at their contracts, I never deal with them. But I do know, I don't know if anybody's here tonight from either one of those entities or not.
I think they should be present when their contract is actually executed for the next council meeting.
All right, do we have a motion to go ahead and vote to accept that resolution?
I motion.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mayor, who was the second?
Thank you.
All right, going on to number 9, item number 9, discussion and consideration for the City of Cotulla holiday schedule for calendar year 2025. I'll bring it up for a little discussion. I only saw a couple of things that I had questions on. One was if we're giving a half a day, the 24th and the full day 25th, and then the 26th as well, it falls on a Friday. My recommendation is at least have a skeleton crew on the 26th. That's my recommendation. The other is that December 31st is not a national holiday, so I don't know if
Yeah.
normally. So
When's
That would be-
New Year's.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
New Year's
So-
Day is,
so
but not New
let's-
Year's Eve.
Let's give them also the first off,
Well, the first is,
so they can enjoy it with their families. You know,
the first would be approved.
Right, but not the 31st.
Why can they not be on the 31st?
I'm just stating that it's not a national holiday.
Okay, let's also give them the 31st.
Is that a normal day that we've always given them off?
In the past, yes. The only change to this holiday schedule was the Christmas holiday. This year it actually has 4 days off, and we cut that down to what you see on the schedule.
And the other one that's not a national holiday, I just noticed, was Easter Monday. That is not a national holiday as well. Any discussion?
I agree with the New Year's Eve. That's not a national holiday, so I would like to delete that if we may.
Does that increase or decrease the total number of holidays that they usually do?
It'll decrease.
Any other discussion?
I know that June 19th, Juneteenth Day is national, but I don't think that we should acknowledge that.
Yeah, that one, I know is a national holiday, you're right. Do we have any recommendations for modification, or how do we want to go forward with this?
We have to have a talk about this. And close session, maybe on the next. Get it on the agenda instead of making a decision.
So you would like to table it for the next?
Table it.
I'll second that.
Okay. So on number 9, the discussion and approving the holiday schedule, it's tabled to the next meeting and shall be put on the agenda on, that's November 7th, David?
14.
14th?
Hmm?
14th.
14.
All right, that's tabled. We'll move on to number 10. Consideration and acting on authorizing the final payment to TC Construction LLC in amount of $70,051.61 for the Cotulla Airport project. Number 10.
So this is the final payment and the closeout of the project that was approved probably about 2 years ago. It has been completed. Punch list has been completed. The project is finished. And this is the final payment.
Any further discussion? Do I have a motion to approve the final payment?
Motion to accept.
I'm motion
Your
second.
second? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next one is going to be number 11. It's a consideration and act on the request by LaSalle County Sheriff Anthony Sartucci to waive the fee for the Veterans Park Trunk or Treat event. And that's happening on Halloween evening. Any discussion?
I just have a question. Main Street has nothing going on at Veterans Park for that day?
No.
Okay.
No, I think, are we doing any of
They're
them or
gonna-
doing the Barrio del,
Yes.
Okay.
Noches del Barrio. We're going to participate in that one.
and that's on Sunday, this coming Sunday.
Oh, this
The-
comes.
yes.
Okay.
It starts, I think, 7 to 10 or something.
Okay, I got a call, see if we could, close that road, so they can put all those
So-
stands and everything like that.
So
We can get it done.
the actual event itself is not able to close the road, but the city can close the road.
Okay.
So I
we
can have,
do it?
yeah, we can close it. And that does not require council action. If you were to give it to the citizen and for the citizen to close it, it would require council action.
Yeah, and there's actually a process they have to go through in order to do that.
So this is closing the road because of the trunk or treaters?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we've done that in the past, but Main Street usually did it. That's why I was asking.
Mhm. Yeah, I think we're participating in the Noches en el Barrio Halloween.
Great. Well, I make a motion that.
Did we vote on it?
You waive.
Yeah.
Okay, that the fee be
Second.
waived? You second it? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Approval. Number 12. All right, number 12, discussion consideration to act on a quote submitted by American Electric Power to the Mustang Creek and Pool Street as requested by Mr. Eloy Sartucci. He did not put himself down for comments. So,
I'm sorry, what is that, Mayor?
number 12.
He can speak to the agenda item if he wishes to.
Do you wish to speak, Mr. Sartucci?
Mayor, councils, I would like to see if y'all can consider on the lighting on Mustang Creek due to some factors is that kids are going to school at 6 o'clock in the morning and it's completely dark. From light pole to light pole is more than 800 feet. There's no lighting in between, especially lighting on the creek itself. And I've seen during the morning, there's kids going to school and it start there. And also there's drunk people walking through there, especially when there's girls walking to go to school. And another thing, that there's kids at night riding their bikes through down to the creek. That's things that I'm trying to avoid for the safety of the kids. And the other thing is, I know it doesn't, the water, when it rains, the water has not crest over the bridge yet, but I'm trying to avoid that. So public safety, firemen, or police officers can see by the lighting of the lights, they can see the water if it's cresting or not. If not, that's what I'm here for.
Thank you. If you've noticed that the quote, we have a 1,700 is for what, David?
That's gonna be for the engineering for the floodlight for the bridge on Pool Street.
Thank you, Mr. Satucci.
Thank you.
And then the 394?
That's for installation of street light existing pole on Pool Street.
So I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but in speaking of that, there's actually 3 bridges that I looked at. One of them is Pool Street, right, that Mr. Satucci pointed out. The other one is on Pecos. And that one is very dark too. We have students coming through that one. And the last one is on Martinez. That would cover all the roads. My request is that we table this for approval and get those other 2 quotes so that we have that whole creek lit up. That's kind of the last of it for that. We're working on one more property. I know that's not in this discussion, but I really feel that would actually help in the event of flooding as well. We would able to, our city employees who go and put up the barricades and everything else, we would be able to see more of what that Mustang Creek is actually accomplishing.
And so children walk through the creek area?
They walk through and by the creek, and not only that, the criminal element likes to use it as well at nighttime because they can't be seen in there. So we've had, in the past, some bailouts in that area, and they're running through that creek. So that light up would even help our law enforcement. So that would be my recommendation. We can also approve this and then move forward to doing those 2 spots, or we can all do it at one time. And that, something.
Excuse me, I think it should be tabled as well, and I think that we should be able to go with you and you show us where you're talking about.
Yes,
Because I
ma'am.
did go by the creek and I looked,
Yes.
and it just doesn't seem like I would want to light exactly where it's supposed to be. I might have been looking at it wrong.
Mhm.
So therefore, before I would make any decisions of any sort,
Sure.
is I need to see where and why, because there's a lot of neighborhoods. They have a lot of children,
Right,
and they don't have street lights either.
right.
So we need to be really smart and do what we have to do
Mhm.
to make it
Sure.
safe for our children. So I agree with you that it should be tabled
Okay.
until we go and you take us around, if you don't mind,
No, I don't mind.
and show us what we're talking about.
Okay.
So I
agree
do
with
make a
that.
motion that it be tabled.
So,
Agree.
okay, so I have them all in favor of tabling this till the November 14th meeting? I have,
Yeah.
all opposed? Okay, motion to table this to the November 14th meeting so that we can look at those other 2 areas.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. We go to 13. Discussion and consideration to act a preliminary customer's quote for Austin Wood Recycling in the amount of $38,500 for grinding of brush and currently collected at near 550 Airport Road. I think the last time it came to the council, it was 30,000.
Yeah,
right?
it was 32,000.
But, and that brush keeps coming,
It
and they
keeps-
still haven't picked up everything. So, yes.
So the pile has grown. I am asking for approval of this quote. Moving forward from here, we are getting quotes for equipment, something that's along the lines of a burn box that can be put over there, and it'll smolder the brush so that it doesn't create smoke or it doesn't create any kind of pollutant, and it'll leave it to a little ash, and then we'll be able to remove and dispose of the ash. We did look into burning. TCEQ told us that being that the county has a burn ban, that they wouldn't even entertain a permit for burning. So right now, the most important thing is to get the pile, to get it chipped and get it out. So that's what I'm asking for us to do. Some of the pricing on the equipment was running around $190,000.
I think before we had talked about reaching out to see TCQ and seeing how we can burn, but because it's so close to the airport and everything else, I took a peek when David had it in his desk, and those burn boxes, there's two of them that we were looking at. The price one, was that the bigger one?
Yeah, there was one, it was 180, and then there was one that was about 190.
Yes. And so if we're paying 38,000 once a year, so in a couple of years, we
You
could get
paid
that
for
paid.
Correct.
But there's one other thing that I wanted to go forward with. I just haven't had the opportunity to talk to the judge yet. And since the commissioners help out with a lot of that brush collection, they might be inclined to help us with some of it. So that would be something to consider later.
Sure.
Unfortunately, right now, we're set with this and we have to clear it up, so
Right.
that's why it's on the agenda.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple of comments, and the burning one, we do have a ban, it's too close to the
Mhm.
airport, and we certainly wouldn't want that smoke going all over our city. However, we do need to get something done in here, and again, God forbid, if a fire just broke out that we're not controlling,
Mhm.
there we go. So I've been to the brush and I've seen pictures of how bad it is. I think that we should do something now, except this, because I think that harbors a lot of rodents, snakes, rats,
yes,
whatever.
right.
So,
And,
yes.
and this, what that machine would do, it burns like a lot of wood at one time and it creates that soot. At that time, we'll be taking care of the soot and taking it down to.
Yeah.
So it's something to consider, and if you would like more information, let David know and he can probably scan you something so you can get on email and just to start becoming familiar with that component.
Mhm. Well, I make a motion that we do accept this. Chipper to come in and clean up that area.
Okay. So do we have a motion to vote then?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll
Do I have
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, the discussion is to pass the Austin Wood Recycling in the amount of 38,500 to mitigate that wood pile. Number 14. Number 14 is discussion and consider an act on authorizing the purchase of HEB gift cards to the amount of $75 per card to provide to each employee for Thanksgiving, not to exceed $3,500.
Make a motion.
Motion on that one.
All right. So, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Discussion and consideration, this is number 15, sorry. A longevity pay scale for 2024 Christmas holiday, and that's your number 15. If you see, it's broken up there by employee and their longevity.
So this matches what we've done the last year or two. It starts off 0 to 1 years, $250. 1 to 3 years is a $500. 4 to 5 years, $650. 6 to 8 years is $800. 9 to 10 years, $950. 11 plus years is $1,100.
I just have one question. Juanita's been with us for a year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
As you see, the total cost of the city is $33,050.
Motion it.
Your motion to vote on it?
Yeah.
Do I have a second?
Second,
All right. All in favor of the longevity pay scale for the Christmas holidays? Say aye.
aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Number 16. Discussion and consideration and act on authorizing $1,500 expenditure for the annual Thanksgiving luncheon for city employees.
Thanksgiving luncheon, we plan on having it here at the convention center. We're going to look to see if we can get somebody to maybe cater a barbecue or something like that for that event. So, for the employees.
I think there's a couple out of Dilly and even Pearsall that does the barbecue. So that's something to consider. Any other discussion?
Make a motion to.
To vote on it?
Yes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Garcia seconds it. So all in favor of the $1,500 expenditure for the annual Thanksgiving luncheon for city employees?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Motion passes. Number 17 is discussion and consideration and act on authorizing expenditures not to exceed 3,500 for purchase of gifts and door prizes for the annual Christmas party, employees luncheon, and to cover the meal.
So this is a yearly event that the city puts on for the staff also for Christmas. This year we were proposing to actually have the event at City Hall and us actually barbecuing for the staff and have the event there.
And the door prizes, how do those go, David?
What they've done in the past is they give out like little tickets and then they pull from a bucket. And if they match the number, they get the door prize.
And so the door prizes is pre-selected or what? We have already, how do we pick the door prizes? How are we buying the door
Who
prizes?
buys them?
In the past, the city secretaries purchased them.
And what's the date on that luncheon?
We don't have a date yet.
Oh, okay.
I was just wondering, perhaps if it's not too much, just to bring a little bit more cheerful situation, maybe suggest having a Secret Santa. You know, that would make it fun to just, and then put a price limit, you know, nothing expensive, but it'll just
Between the
mix the
staff.
luncheon up with fun.
Any more discussion on the luncheon?
Do
I have a
motion to approve?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. And then the number 18 is the acceptance of the city secretary resignation.
Make a motion that's accepted.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We pass it, okay.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Okay, it passes. All right, number 19. Before we go to number 19 in closed session, we have a consultant with the, what is it, with the Housing Authority?
Keith Franklin. His firm.
Right, he has representatives here, and it's going to be Mr. Rodriguez, right?
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
we're just well. Hello, y'all. Good evening.
Good evening.
Honorable Mayor, City Council.
Thank you.
My name is Joaquin Rodriguez, and we have been retained to represent the Cotulla Housing Authority, mostly to facilitate this open records request that has been requested by the city of Cotulla. My client, we understand that our response is late. However, there is a justification for that. The records are quite voluminous, and the records contained personal identification information that cannot be disclosed as per the Texas Public Information Act. So what I'm doing on behalf of my client before this honorable body is merely requesting some time. Next week, we will be providing you a date for when these records will be turned in to you for your inspection so that we are in compliance with the Public Information Act. But just to let you know, our representation is merely is on behalf of the Housing Authority, but it is merely to facilitate this open records request. Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any questions that y'all may have this evening.
Any questions? Thank you, Mr.
No,
Rodriguez.
if you could hang around till we're finished with our closed session, and then we'll talk to you again.
Absolutely.
All
We
right,
will hang
thank
around. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you.
So at that time, we're going to go ahead and go into closed session. The time is 7:09. All right, the time is 7:39 and we're back at open session. And on item A, pending or contemplated of litigation to TPIA Enforcement of Housing Authority, no action was taken in closed session. So, coming to number 21. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Adjournment passes. Time 7:39.